Lisa N. Holden is a licensed physical therapist and mom-focused lifestyle coach. As a movement expert and women's healthcare advocate, Dr. Lisa works to help busy moms find their healthy. The owner of Healthy Phit Physical Therapy and Wellness Consultants in Charlotte, North Carolina, Dr. Folden works with clients recovering from orthopedic and neurological injuries. Additionally, she assists busy moms seeking a healthier lifestyle by guiding their food, exercise, and wellness choices through optimal organization, planning strategies, and holistic goal setting. In addition to managing a private practice and being a wife, Dr. Lisa is a hashtag fit mom of three and published author of Healthy Made Easy, the ultimate wellness guide for busy moms. Her book provides women with busy lifestyles the tools to carve out time for wellness and meal prepping support, quick exercises on the go, social eating suggestions, and more. A regular contributor to online and print articles on topics related to health, wellness, self-care, motherhood, pregnancy, and pain, Dr. Lisa has had the distinct honor of being featured in Oprah Magazine, Shape Magazine, Live Strong, Bustle, and several others. Dr. Lisa has a sincere passion for helping women live their very best lives, and this passion is evident in her every interaction. Welcome to the show, Dr. Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me, Carmen. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. I'm going to take off my glasses now that I
Go for it.
read your bio. I
I
can't
love
see.
it. I understand.
Well, welcome to the show. So happy to have you here. Just tell my listeners and viewers a little bit more about yourself and how your journey and how you've gotten to where you are today.
Awesome. Of course. Thank you. So outside of the stuff that's already in the bio, I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. So I am a Detroit girl, a Northern girl, but I've been living here in Charlotte for the last 14 years. And it's kind of become the new home at this point. All the kids were born here. So this is I don't plan on leaving. I'm the oldest of seven children. So
Seven.
yes, my parents are very busy. So I'm like the forever big sister. That's kind of part of who I define myself as a person. And I've just been, enjoying the journey. I went to Grand Valley State University, which is in Michigan. I did my undergraduate career there. So I graduated in 2004. And then I went on and did my doctorate degree, and I graduated in 2007 from the same university.
Okay.
And it's just been a whirlwind since then. I only practiced in Michigan for about a year. And then we relocated here to Charlotte. So I worked as a travel physical therapist, which I shouldn't say travel because I was the girl who graduated and then got married a week later. So, so I did not travel. I did what you call contract physical therapy, where I would essentially work in a facility for 13 weeks and then rotate to another facility. But doing that was so cool because it gave me an opportunity to see physical therapy in so many different settings. And that ultimately kind of shaped how I created my own practice, which I then started in 2013. So.
Wow. Now, did you always know you wanted to be a physical therapist, or was this something that you decided later on in your life?
So I decided very early, but it was more later in childhood. So I was the girl like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A doctor. I just want to be a doctor. And I liked kids because I was a kid. So I used to say pediatrician. So
Okay.
probably from the age of like 6 to 16, I was a pediatrician. Like that was my goal in life. What happened is when I turned 16, I went to my pediatrician with my mom. And I was going to ask him some questions. I was going to see like, hey, what was medical school like? And girl, I got in that office and he was in there with me for maybe 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So I got no opportunity to speak to him. The nurse spent most of the time in the office with me. And I left there. And not saying that all physician situations are like that, but I know that many of them are. But I left there and I told my mom, I was like, I don't think I want to be a doctor anymore. And she just kind of
Mm.
looked at me like, how'd you come up with that? Like, I'm 16 at this time. So I got on the internet, which I'm aging myself, but it was very new. Like, there was no Google. It was like, I don't know what the search engine was.
AOL.
Maybe. So I literally typed in medicine or medical field and sports. At the time, I was a dancer and I ran cross country.
Hmm.
And so I knew I liked that aspect. And that put me down the rabbit hole of sports medicine and then to physical therapy. And I decided that day I was going to be a physical therapist. And honestly, it never changed my mind. So I was pretty young. I was only 16.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I knew I had an interest in the body and medicine and anatomy and things like that. So I felt pretty confident in that choice that early.
That's interesting how an interaction like that can completely change the trajectory of your life.
It really
Um,
did.
I would say, I would say OJ Simpson did that for me. Yeah, I know. Let me tell you the story real
Yeah, I
quick.
need to hear this. Please.
I went to college with the idea of being a criminal defense attorney. That's what I wanted to be. So
Oh,
I went and my first major was criminal justice,
wow.
and it was the year that the OJ Simpson trial happened, and just watching all of that and just seeing how the defense, I was like, you know what? No,
No.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to be a really good defense
Right,
attorney.
right. Takes a level of I don't know, probably
Compartmentalization.
and dishonesty that you're probably wouldn't have been comfortable with.
so
I get that.
so at that point in time I was like, nope, I think I'm gonna change things. So
That's funny, but that case was monumental in our lives. Like
it
we
really was.
watching that on TV was like the first time I probably ever paid attention to the criminal justice system, you
Right?
know? So I get
Yes.
that. I could see how that did it for you. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I was like, yeah, probably not gonna. You probably are going to be sued for malpractice, or not malpractice, but is it
Something.
malpractice for?
I don't think it's
Right.
malpractice for lawyers, but yes, something, you know,
That.
it's a lot. It is that's a whole nother world. I have a few friends that are attorneys and I could not imagine.
Yes, yes, yes. So anyway,
Yeah,
I just thought about that because I remember when I changed my career as well.
that's funny.
So you found yourself wanting to be involved in sports, and
Mhm.
so physical therapist was your choice. So then you segued into helping busy moms. Now,
Right.
why is that important to you?
So obviously, so the desire to help busy moms really arose out of necessity, like becoming a
Hmm.
mom and realizing, so going back, being a big sister forever, right? I expected, and this is probably so arrogant of me, but I expected that motherhood would sort of be a easy. Like I just thought, I'm like, I've always had all these siblings. My mom was a very young mother, so I always helped her. I was always changing diapers. I was always babysitting. I did not think motherhood would rock my world, and it literally rocked my world. Okay,
Hmm.
so taking this new little person, who you love more than anything, right?
Yes.
But who now owns you. It's like slavery. Like they own you, and then still trying to figure out like, oh, I'm still a person though. It
Hmm.
was such a conflict for me between
Sure.
like being my own person but recognizing I am fully responsible for this human life. And this is with a
Sure.
husband, who was there and present, but still just a whole different journey for them, in my opinion,
Yeah.
versus us. So it arose out of necessity. When I was in physical therapy school, I worked in every setting. I did the hospital, I did inpatient, outpatient, I did home care. When I graduated and started working, I worked in the school system. So I worked in every possible setting. I worked with athletes. And I learned early on I did not want to finally, ultimately work with them. I just found that their desire to get well had more to do with just get me back on the field
Yeah.
versus let me
Yes.
heal. And that was
Yeah.
very much against everything I learned in school. So
Hmm.
so I took a sharp left from that field. And yeah, it was once I became a mother and realized how hard it was, and then how often mothers are just neglected, especially here in the US. Like in other countries, do you know, many other countries, it is mandatory when a woman gives birth that she goes and gets checked out by a physical therapist following. And
Yeah.
usually start some level of treatment with physical therapy. It is a whole traumatic experience to carry a child and then birth them, okay? And then
Absolutely.
sections especially, and in our country they don't do that, so you have to like advocate for yourself and beg for physical therapy if you even know that physical therapy can help you
That's
you know
right.
so on the physical side of things, I just saw that there was a big need for women to know like you need this extra care. You take that baby to the doctor 8 times in their first month of life,
You're right about that.
but they see you at 6 weeks and say, okay, go back to work.
Well, I mean, I've never really thought about it like that before. I mean, we do. We take the baby in as
Hmm.
many times, but we only is seen maybe right afterwards, and
That's it.
then,
And
like you
then
said,
6 or 8 week
six
checkup.
or 8 weeks checkup.
And then they
So,
clear you for work. Not only do you have a new child and you're not sleeping, go back to work.
right. Wow, that
But
I never really thought about that before. And so why do you think it's like that here in the US and different from other places or other countries?
long short answer,
Sure.
capitalism, patriarchy, a little racism, but all of it.
Say it.
All of the
Yeah,
isms basically.
most def.
um Unfortunately, our country is very much run by capitalism, and it's like we have to be productive and make money, and it's the same, we put it on ourselves because we've been
We do.
trained to believe that. So
That's right.
most mothers are like, I got to get back to work. It's like, I'm not going to figure out how to stay home longer with my child or just with myself and figure this whole motherhood thing out. It's like, we have bills to pay, so I'm going back to work.
Yes. You are
And
yeah.
yeah, so it starts that
Mhm.
process of what I call like the martyrhood of motherhood, where it's like, we are just
Mhm.
last. Like, they care about the baby being healthy. Yes,
Mhm.
you'll be judged if your baby's not healthy, but they don't always. Society, obviously, there are people who do care, but society as a whole just doesn't care about the welfare of mothers, in my opinion. And so
Sure.
it arose out of necessity, being a mother and realizing like, this shit is hard,
That's
and
right.
nobody's available to help me like I thought. And then we had kids. We moved here and had kids, so we had no family support on top
Yeah.
of that. So I had to
Right.
make a village. But yeah, that is why I realized mothers needed care, and I wanted to be the one to provide it. So it started with the physical therapy, the
Mhm.
physical aspect, and then it leaked over into coaching, where I'm helping, and that's where the book came from. And then more coaching services, helping moms like reprioritize. Like, you go to the top of the list, and then
That's right.
everybody else is under you. And it's so hard for moms to unlearn the years of training of like, I'm last, I'll sacrifice. And
Right.
it's like,
Oh,
girl.
yes.
So
Right. I
yeah,
mean, they tell you on the airplane, put your air mask on before you try to help others. And
you have
so
to.
it's it is something that I know that you, along with myself and other self-care advocates, are really trying to fight, and
Yeah.
trying to get the word out to women, especially women and
Hmm.
mothers, to prioritize themselves, prioritize their health, their
Hmm.
mental health, their physical health, and emotional health.
All
And
of it.
so, okay, so let's talk about how the physical therapy part, because like I said, you just blew my mind, not even thinking about like how physical therapy could be beneficial to a new mother or a woman who has just had a baby. Like,
Hmm.
what are some of the things that it could help with or prevent?
Oh, so many things. So on the very basic, on the very surface, and this was one of the first things I had trouble with after having a baby. I nursed my all my kids, but on my first one, what I found is that because I was always nursing this baby and always holding this baby, my posture began to go very far forward.
Mm,
So I was developing sort of a hunchback. Shoulders were forward, and neck was always hurting, and mid back was always hurting. So one, it's postural education, postural re-education, showing you what neutral looks like. Most of my moms, the one thing that I recommend for them is one of those My Breast Friends, those like nursing pillows you can strap around your body so that your baby is up and like right there at your boob,
mm,
so you don't feel like you're always down here.
having to hunch over,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we talk about postural when you're picking the baby up out of the crib. I always encourage moms to like nurse in bed, lying on their side, so that they can, just take a load off, because there's
Mm-hmm.
so much. So a lot of it is pain with your neck, your back, sometimes shoulders, especially if you kind of have a bigger baby, and then low back pain. OMG, that's the kicker.
Yeah.
Everybody suffers from that at some point, but after pregnancy and birth, exceptionally so. And what I find is the muscles along the low back are really tight and
Mm-hmm.
spasmed. And then the muscles in your abdomen are very stretched out, relaxed, and weak. And so rebuilding the
Right.
core, especially after a C-section. And then we haven't even gotten into like the depths of it. I'm not a pelvic floor physical therapist, but there are
Mm-hmm.
physical therapists who specialize in re-educating the muscles of your pelvic floor. So the muscles that basically sit above your vagina, like
Yeah.
those, all the ones that had to move and stretch and be manipulated to actually get a baby out. And those therapists actually go internally. It's almost like a gynecologist, go internally and help you rehabilitate those muscles. But rehabilitating all of that, getting the muscles to work more optimally together, and then managing your posture and your pain, and then really just giving you a freaking break. Like my
Mm-hmm.
moms, I encourage them to come, alone, but I also let them come with their babies when they need to. Leave them in the car seat. I have a comfy chair where they can sit back and nurse them because, it's really whatever you need. And I know when you have a new child, it's very hard to separate and leave them. But there's so many aches and pains and
Yeah.
injuries associated with giving birth, having a child, and then muscles that have atrophied and just gotten small and weak.
Mhm.
So we
Mhm.
just got to strengthen you back up. But, like I said, most people are not referred to physical therapy after having a baby, even though they really, really should be.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that is something that I definitely think that we should definitely, get the word out for
Hmm.
physical therapists. I think we only think about that if we're injured or if
Hmm.
we're hurt or something like that. But I mean, childbirth is trauma,
I was going to say,
so
but that's the thing. Childbirth is an
childbirth is
injury.
trauma.
It is
Yes,
a major injury. You know what I
yes,
mean? And in a lot of cases, it's a major surgery for people.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
it makes no sense that it's not something that's suggested, but, I'm working so that maybe one day it will be, or at the
yes,
very least, physical therapy is, in most states in the country, it's considered direct access. So you don't even have to ask your doctor. You can just go to a physical therapist directly. And
that's good to
so
know.
my goal is that women know that they have these options available so that they can take advantage. At the very least, you just need to have an evaluation, like just to
Right.
see if
Hmm.
there's anything that can be helped.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it. So,
Hmm.
in your practice and working with busy moms, what do they struggle with the most? What would you say is the most challenging aspect for a busy mom?
That's a great question, and it obviously varies. But I would say one of the key things that I hear from moms is I don't have time. So the
Yes.
biggest thing they struggle with is time management. And then I would say, second to that is the mom guilt. So when they do have time to do things that benefit themselves, that overwhelming sense of guilt that they should be doing something for their child or their family or someone else, it takes a whole lot of like daily affirmations to let that mindset go. Because
Hmm.
again, we've been trained to believe moms are the sacrificial lambs in all situations. And
Yes.
then the very last thing, I know this is three instead of one, but the very last thing is poor communication. We are not communicating with our village, be that our spouse, other children, our friends, our other family members, our communities, social networks, people that are available, nannies, whomever. Like, we're not
Yeah.
reaching out to our village or creating and building a village so that people can help us with
Hmm.
raising a child. Like, it takes a village is literal. Like, it's not a figurative statement, it is a literal statement.
That's right.
It is very challenging to raise a child on an island by yourself. You need support. And so moms, again, because we are super women, we do it all and we don't communicate our needs. And then we build resentment toward people in our lives
That part.
that
That
should be
part.
that should be helping and they should be reading our minds, but we have to say what we need. So it goes back to
Yeah.
prioritizing ourselves.
It is, and I mean, you brought up the part about resentment. I think I definitely I struggled with that.
Hmm.
At the time, didn't know what it was, but just felt, and this was actually more so when my children were older,
Ah.
and we moved around to different cities, and I didn't necessarily feel like I had a strong support system around me
Hmm.
in the cities that we lived in, and I
Yeah.
do use the word feel
Yeah.
because it was my perspective, and
Hmm.
it may have been there, and just like you said, I may not
Weren't
have been
tapping in.
asking for it and tapping into it,
Yeah.
but built up resentment
Hmm.
because from that, because felt like I was doing it all on my own. Felt like I didn't have anyone close to me who could help me with those, navigating through the different things for motherhood.
Yeah.
And so, and like you said, having this mindset, being conditioned to put yourself first, put yourself last, do
Yeah.
everything for the, if it's the children or the spouse or the
Hmm.
job, even
Yeah.
the job comes up, you
That
know.
is a big one too for my moms. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, so you really touched on that resentment part. So how do you work through that with the women? I know you said affirmations and
Yeah.
obviously changing mindset first, right? Because you got to
Hmm.
get through all of that. You got to pull
Yeah.
out all those weeds and you got to pull out all of that stuff and what I say is unlearn, learn, and unlearn again.
Yep. That's so accurate. No, that's
Unlearn,
spot
learn, unlearn.
on. You're
Right.
right. You hit the nail on the head, and that is what it is. So, my work as a physical therapist, I, obviously address the physical piece, and then with the coaching, I spend time helping moms understand that what we've been taught is just wrong. And that's
Hmm.
really what it is. It's wrong. It's not conducive to living a full, healthy, well life. So my mantra is if you want to be healthy, it can't just be like, oh, my stomach is flat, or oh, I'm
Yeah.
stronger now. That is great. Those are,
Yeah.
some aspects of your health, but your health starts on the inside. So if you don't have it together, if you're not addressing your mental, emotional, spiritual health, then you're not healthy. And you can look great and, like I
Hmm.
said, maybe be really strong, but you're not going to achieve what it is you want. So we start there with just the acknowledgement that what we've been taught is wrong.
Hmm.
We work on the unlearning process. I definitely encourage lots of affirmations. And I want you to come up with your own. I'll give you some samples, but I want you to do this yourself so that it makes sense and it's relatable. And you post them on your mirror in your bathroom or your bedroom or your refrigerator or on your dashboard in your car, and you say them throughout the day. And then you take tiny steps, and I'm here as an accountability partner to say, okay, this week or this month, you were supposed to take yourself to lunch all by yourself.
Yeah.
Did you do it? You know what I mean? So
And
I'm someone
what if a
to
client comes
encourage
up?
that.
Okay, what if a client comes and says, "Yeah, I was supposed to, but I
But
didn't."
yep. So then I'm on their butts and I'm reminding them, like, first of all, you're paying me money. So let's
Mm.
do that. Get that part straight. You're paying me for this. You have to do your part or you're wasting your money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that this is important. So I'll go as far as to make the reservation.
Yeah.
Like if it requires that, we're gonna sit down. Let's look at a restaurant. Okay, we're making the reservation. It's done. Your
Hmm.
phone number's in there. You got to go. So whatever it takes. And then I also, I understand my limitations. I am not a mental health therapist. So I refer the vast majority of my mom clients to therapy because
Okay.
you really need somebody to sit down and go through this with you for real.
So you just so I think that's a good point to make. So
Hmm.
you are a wellness coach. What
Yes.
what is a difference between a coach and a therapist? So
Oh,
like you said, a
tons.
person who
Yeah.
comes well, yeah. So you say a person comes to you and you're trying to help and assist them, but
Hmm.
then you realize, you know what, this isn't the best fit. I'm
Yeah,
gonna recommend you
absolutely.
to a therapist. So what are some of those things that you notice that
Hmm.
maybe being a coach is not the best thing for this person?
Yeah. So typically I try to assess that in the first visit because I don't even want you to keep coming to me. And I can usually weed it out pretty quickly. And then occasionally, and in most cases, actually, they will be appropriate for me, but they need therapy concurrently. So
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
here's the number for a therapist. You're not going to see optimal results until you're working on both things.
Yeah.
So that's typically what I do. But some of the differences, obviously, as a health coach, I'm not diagnosing any mental health conditions. I am not treating any mental health conditions. I am not providing, I will provide advice based on my personal experience and my clinical knowledge, but it is up to you to see if it actually works for you.
Mhm.
When you go to a therapist, oftentimes, depending upon the type of therapist you have, if they're not extremely directive, they're not going to give you direct, like, take yourself to lunch all the time. Or they may give you suggestions, but they're not going to say, make this decision or,
Mhm.
dump that boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
because I'm not a licensed mental health therapist, I can say, dump that boyfriend. I steer away from that, but there's limitations in both of our fields as to how far we can go. I can get a little bit more engulfed in like this one aspect of your life, whereas your mental health therapist may choose to speak more broadly to certain things. And again,
Sure.
they're going to be dealing with specific mental health issues. If there's anxiety, if there's depression, things of that nature, they're going to dig
Mhm.
into that. They're far more skilled, than I am in that area. And I find it works really well when you have both. Like, you're seeing a mental health therapist, or a counselor, psychiatrist, whatever, and then you're also working with a health coach because we're looking at different things. I'm going to be focused on things that make you well, with the physical being a primary point because that's where my education lies,
Mhm.
and then the motherhood piece, I can speak to those specific aspects as a mother and as a mother who's helped other mothers. But when you get outside of that, yeah, you're out of my wheelhouse, and I'm going to refer you on to someone else.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and what it sounds like is that the women who come to you or seek your help, they are looking for like they have specific goals that they're
Yeah.
trying to achieve. They
Hmm.
have specific things that they're trying to achieve and go forward with.
Hmm.
And so, and like you said, you are an accountability partner for them.
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's probably somewhat of a difference between a coach and a
Yes.
therapist, is that
Yes.
it is goal driven and specific,
Hmm.
and going forward rather than looking back.
Definitely. That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. You're right. It has a lot more. I definitely encourage you to examine your past and your previous behaviors and, traumas, but I can't work through that with you. Like
Hmm.
I am not trained to do that. I am more focused on moving forward. What can we do from this day forward to make this part of your life better or more enjoyable and just benefit your overall wellness? Yeah. So it's more of an umbrella of like, how can we
Yeah.
make you better? And that may include getting you a mental health therapist. That may include getting you a personal trainer, someone you can
That's
work out
right.
with regularly. That may include, all kinds of people on your team. I'm more
Yeah.
of an umbrella to say, like, oh, try this, and here are my suggestions for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you do meal prepping, and now I'll tell
So,
you that has been the thorn in
listen,
my side on my fitness journey. I have never been so defeated.
stop it.
I'm just being real and honest.
I
I remember
understand.
times going and buying all this food and just being gung ho and excited, and and then and for me, who I have been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder,
Gotcha.
and so I'll get all that food home and I'll just look at it and I'll just freeze and I'll just be
Right.
like, I don't even know what to do, and I just start becoming very anxious and very and then all the food goes bad.
Yep.
And so I think I've done that maybe 3 or 4 times. And I was like, you know what? It ain't for me.
Screw
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
it ain't for
Yep.
me. But I'm sure there are definitely things that I am not doing to the best of my ability. So for a person who wants to meal prep, what are 3 tips you can give to a person just to get them started,
Yes.
going in the right direction?
Good question. So let me just say this: meal prep is not for everyone. It's not. It's not a thing that everybody has to do, especially if you're in a situation where you're not necessarily having to cook for a lot of people. If you're only really primarily responsible for your own food, you can skip through that without meal prepping. You really can. I just find that meal prep eases the responsibilities during the week. And
Hmm.
for me, that's everything. Like, I don't want to have to think about what I'm cooking for dinner
Yeah,
when I get home from work. That it just doesn't make sense to me.
right.
I
You've been
want to know what
thinking
my
all
lunch
day,
is.
you've been working all
Yeah, I just want to
day.
shut down. so,
Right.
so my tips for meal prep will be: number one, start small. You have to start simple. It may be like, okay, week one, I'm only going to prep dinners. Just something so my evenings can be smooth. I'm not going to worry about lunch and breakfast. I'll keep doing whatever I've been doing so far to get by. And then once I get good and comfortable with dinners, then I'll add in breakfast or lunch or,
Okay.
one of the two, however you want to play it. But start small. Start with something that makes sense. And when you're meal prepping, within the tip of starting small, think about things you can make with similar ingredients, because the worst thing you can do
Mm.
is buy hundreds and hundreds of dollars of ingredients
Mm-hmm.
and then, like you said, get discouraged because this is way more than you want to do, way more cooking and way more time than you want to commit
Yes.
to, and then all the crap goes bad.
Yep.
It's like then you literally wasted money and time and energy, and it will discourage you from starting again.
Yeah.
So start small, use ingredients that, foods that have similar ingredients, and then you want to approach meal prep from the standpoint of, I'm trying to save time, not spend 6 hours one day, create. So, what things can I do to save time? Sometimes meal prep is not cooking a meal. For me, so the way I set my meal prep up, and I have a free meal prep course you can get through to my Instagram, but
Okay.
I start with simple things like, I'm going to make 3 dinners this week just because we like to do leftovers one day and not beyond that. Well, I don't mind, but my family's picky.
Right.
So, so what I'll do is this week I'm going to select meals where one of them I have to cook through. The other two, I'm just prepping them. I'm just going to chop up the vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
season the meat or marinate it, and throw it in the freezer in a freezer bag.
Yeah.
Something that literally takes 10 minutes. So you have to create your routine based on stuff that can be quick but efficient. So
Mm-hmm.
meal prep does not mean fully cooking all of these meals or anything that has to be that excruciating, because that's excruciating to me. When I've been in the kitchen 6 hours, I'm angry. Like, I'm no longer excited. I'm mad. I'm like, this was annoying. My feet hurt. My back hurts. So, so simple. So I guess I don't know if I broke that down to 3 tips, but but start
You
small
did.
and find ingredients, find foods that you can do with similar ingredients, and then recognize that some meals should be prepped, like just chopped and marinated, and others need to be fully cooked. But limit those so that you have more time doing the things you want to do. Meal prep shouldn't be like a whole nother job, like a part-time
Yeah.
gig for you. It should be a part of your regular life. So, you got to work yourself through it. And it takes time. And again, it's not for everybody, or
Yeah.
it's not for everybody in the same way.
In the same
Sometimes
way.
I tell people their
Definitely.
meal prep should be getting one of those food delivery services for their lunches.
Hmm.
So
That
sign up for
that is meal
HelloFresh,
prep. Yeah.
and that is your meal prep. Get that delivered for the week. If it's just one person's lunches and you don't have to worry about anyone else, it's not horribly expensive. And then that's done for you. And you don't even have to think. And some of them come with the ingredients. Some of them come, fully cooked and frozen. So you
Hmm.
have great options with that. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. And the other option is like Trader Joe's. It's like a favorite grocery store of mine, where you can go get the freezer meals that are literally throw in a pan and saute, and it's a great huge meal. That's
Really?
meal prep. Like, this is what I'm having on Tuesday. Prepping just means preparing in advance, having something,
Okay.
organized or set up. So whatever works for you, you have to do it. And you can't, what you see people doing on Instagram, that may not be your thing, and that's okay. And don't try
That's
to
okay.
force it. Don't try to force it. Do what
Yeah.
works for you.
I like that. That's okay.
Yeah.
Like with everything else, we want to try to be as authentic in our lives as possible.
Yes.
Meal prep too. So I am gonna keep trying
Yes. Take baby
to figure
steps.
out my way, because I
Yeah.
definitely know that it would be helpful for myself and for my daughters,
Mm-hmm.
and just because I'm a busy mom too,
Yeah.
and so yeah, and speaking of busy mom, I mean, you're helping busy moms, but you're a busy mom, mom of three. How do you balance? What do you do for self care?
Oh, I do everything I can. I try to make my self care a daily practice, because for years, my oldest is 9, and then I have a 7-year old and a 5-year old. And I would say for at least the first 3 to 4 years of my 9-year old's life, I was not engaging in any real self care. It was like a treat every few months, like, oh, I'm gonna get my hair done, or oh, I'm gonna go to the spa. And it was basically the same thing. Like, I'm gonna get a
Hmm.
massage, which is great. That can be self care. But I have decided, reconciled that, like, self care happens every single day. And it's
Hmm.
something that is adding to my overall well being, making me happy or joyful in some way. And so it can be anything. It could be a piece of chocolate, it can be a nap, it can be a hairdo, it can be meditation. So my mornings start every day, not every day, every weekday at 6 a.m. I get up and I spend the first 10 minutes of my day to myself. I am
Hmm.
praying, meditating, stretching in the dark, and I don't typically allow anyone to disturb me.
Yeah. You're
That helps me
grounding.
so much. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm grounding. I'm prepared because I know the chaos is coming. So I'm preparing myself and giving myself some love and attention, and feeling like, how do I feel? Is this hurting? Is this stiff? Is this tight? Like, how
Yeah.
is my breathing? I literally just attend to myself and
Hmm.
only myself. And it's
Hmm.
funny because as soon as that 10 minutes is up, a kid walks in the room like, hey, mom. I'm like,
Hello.
there we go. See, this is why I did it. So yeah,
And we're off.
and yes, done. In scene. So yeah, so I do that daily, and then I exercise right after that. That's a part of my self-care because it makes me feel so good. It gets all my happy
Yeah.
hormones going for the rest of the day, and it helps me get through like busy long days like today. It's like if I didn't start with my workout and then my supplements and my vitamins, and I'm not drinking my water, I'm not a wonderful person to be around at that point.
Hmm.
I'm groggy and cranky and sleepy and mad.
Yeah.
so yeah, so I try to do self care daily, and then I do all the other stuff too, all the splurging, facials here and there.
Sure.
I get my nails done every month like clockwork. I have a standing appointment. Same thing with my brows. So I do things that make me feel pretty and make me feel doted upon and taken care of, in addition to the things that feed my soul. And I challenge
Yeah.
women and everyone to make sure your self care routine involves all of that. Because if you're just looking cute and tending to the outer
Hmm.
shell
Hmm.
and the inner is still like a mess, again, you're not really healthy. So,
Yeah. You're not really caring for yourself. Exactly.
absolutely. Yeah.
And you wrote your book. So, what inspired you to write your book?
Life. No, just living the mom life and trying to sort through and figuring it all out and recognizing that I wasn't alone. Like most
Mhm.
moms were having these same troubles. Like everyone was having the same gripes. You can post something on Instagram or Facebook and the moms will be like, "Amen."
Yeah. Ain't it something that because I think what happens is like you're thinking it
Hmm.
and you don't really know if someone else is thinking it or
Yep.
going through it, and then you down yourself. You be like, "Are you crazy? Or you just,
Are you
are
tripping?
you
Having a
yeah,
whole conversation in your head.
in
Like,
your
what?
whole head?" And then you see somebody else say it, you be like, "You too."
Yes. It's like this sisterhood, you know what I mean? That's instantly
Yeah.
created where it's like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Like I was so happy when I started seeing moms post about like the realities of motherhood. Not to say that motherhood
Mhm.
is not amazing because it absolutely is, but when they
Yeah,
were like,
absolutely.
I love my kids, but they get on my damn nerves. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's like,
hello.
oh, it,
Yes.
it gives you
Yes.
permission to be honest about what is going on.
And
And
to
it is
be a
not.
human.
Yes, because it's not
Mhm.
roses and fairy dust all day. Like
Yeah.
it's stressful and it's
Mhm.
hard and it's really important to be able to relate with people, even if they're people on social media. Like it's nice to be able to see that authenticity. And
That's right.
so that
Mhm.
is where the need for the book came. It was I was recognizing I was having struggles that other mothers were also having. And
Mhm.
it's like, you know what, let me try to help. Let me take what I figured out over the years and learned. And I don't think, yeah, I wrote this after the third child. So it took me a minute. It was like, okay, I think I have something. So yes, I just tried to put my wisdom, and obviously, I'm not all knowing, but I tried to put my wisdom into that book and just help other people the way I felt like I needed help early on,
Yeah.
that I didn't necessarily have. So
And I think those are, like you said, those are the most authentic experiences. And that is, to me, the best help was when it's coming from a place of when you've been there before,
yes,
or you can, or you can actually empathize with someone who's been
yes,
there
hmm,
before. So I think that type of advice and those type of books are so helpful to so many women. So
yeah,
I
I
think you're
agree.
you're spot on with that.
Thank you.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I mean, I could talk to you about so much stuff. I mean,
I know we
just
talk
so,
well anyway.
I know we do. We do.
We do.
So I know there are so many more topics we can talk about, but I wanted to get you on to introduce you to my audience about all the great things that you're doing and the ways that you can help mothers. And like I said, that physical therapy part for
Mhm,
new moms or just moms in general,
mhm,
that is really really huge, and
yeah,
definitely think that should be something that we definitely need to be advocating and speaking more about to help moms with their bodies
yeah.
after giving birth to babies. So I definitely love what you're doing. Now, if people wanted to know more about Dr. Lisa, who is so amazing on Instagram, I love your reels. You can't be
Thank you.
rolling. I love it. I
I've been
love
having
your
fun with
reels.
the reels. I have been having fun. Too much fun, probably.
No, not at all. Not at all. I
That's
mean, so
funny.
check her out. Check her IG account out. I mean, you will
Thank
love her
you.
reels. I love them. And I mean, and they're reels that are like informational reels. So like they're not just, whatever. Like she's
Yeah,
giving you
I try to mix
information.
it up a little.
Exactly. And I mean, I'd be over there just rolling, laughing, loving it.
That's funny.
So tell my listeners and viewers how they can learn more about you.
Of course. So you can always go to my website, which is just www.healthyfit.com. And just a note, my fit is spelled Phit. So, and I'm Healthy Fit on everything. So Healthy Fit on Instagram, Healthy Fit on Facebook. I have YouTube, Pinterest. I'm even on Clubhouse. So you can pretty much find me anywhere. My book is available on my website as well as on Amazon. And like I said, like you said, I do spend a lot of time on Instagram. That's my happy place. So
There you
so
go.
yes,
That's self-care. There you
yeah, you can definitely interact with
go.
me there. DM me. I'm happy to answer questions and help out in any way that I can. So yeah, those are the best ways to contact me. So
Awesome. So great. Well, I'm sure I'll be having you back on to talk about more topics. So I
yay.
appreciate your time today. Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Talk soon.
Talk soon.